To receive the ULI New York Visionary Leadership and Land Use Award is a big deal because New York is the biggest stage. And to be recognized by your peers, by your colleagues, even by people who may not have liked you but respect you, that's the greatest honor. And nobody deserves it more than Ronne Hackett.
Ronne's impact in the real estate industry and New York City specifically is really unparalleled. I mean, in the real estate industry more broadly, she was the first female developer to run her own development business that we know of nationwide. In New York City, she led the revitalization of Times Square and built multiple high-rise residential towers all across the city.
And when you think about the trailblazers, the people that really moved the needle, she certainly is one of very few females that were a role model, a mentor, and then ultimately a practitioner across the spectrum.
Ronne is grit and Ronne is grace. She works hard, strong, tough, but everybody sort of walks away feeling either like a win-win relationship or mentored or encouraged or supported. And it's such a tough balance to find.
She is one of one, very, very special, cares about the client, cares about her commitment to the industry. That diligence and work ethic, in my mind, is certainly a formula for success. And she does that with everything she does.
She's been a leader irrespective of gender, really, and I am really honored and proud to know her.
Ronne and I met back in 1978 at Chemical Bank. In 1978, it was about men, men, and men. And so we were traveling in the South and we were visiting a prospect and we were both asked to go through a side door at a club for lunch. We both looked at each other and I think that's what bounded our friendship and recognized we're in this together. We are going to succeed despite what our environment says.
The real estate industry runs on money as well as ideas and entrepreneurship. And Ronne basically was in charge of the finance for a long time in New York City. The decision she made basically rebuilt New York City at that time of 70s, 80s, and later.
After Chemical Bank, Ronne decided to get into the development business and she went to work for George Klein at Park Tower. She developed massive real estate buildings all over the New York skyline.
I first met Ronne in the mid-1980s, and she had quite an influence on the ultimate redevelopment of Times Square. In 1983, Times Square was the most dangerous place in the city of New York. It had been that way for decades, but it was getting worse. And so the city and state launched the 42nd Street Development Project. Ronne, while she was the chief financial officer of Park Tower Realty, was actually much more than that. She was the liaison, and these were very difficult, fraught negotiations.
In the annals of New York City development in that time, there probably wasn't a major building built that Ronne wasn't at the core of.
I think one of the major milestones in Ronne's career was when she had the guts really to go out and be a developer on her own. It was a man's world, and Ronne forged such a success in establishing the Claret Group.
It's been almost 12 years since I worked for the Claret Group, and it has remained one of the highlights of my career because of the culture that Ronne created and the room she gave us to grow as individuals and as a team, and created an environment in which we could take risks and therefore be more successful.
One of the early projects I got to work on when I came to Goldman Sachs was working with Ronne on a project that's now known as Strauss Park. And it was such a thrill to be able to support Ronne as she was growing her business. And it was one of the most successful projects I did at Goldman Sachs.
Ronne has really changed the urban environment in so many parts of the city, in Times Square, in Lower Manhattan at 60 Wall Street, in her development projects on the West Side. She has been a leader in transforming the city's landscape.
She is somebody who's been on the banking side, on the development side, on the advisory side, and she's also somebody who really has seen her role as being a true mentor and advisor.
The Women's Leadership Initiative, or WLI as we call it, is a piece of the District Council that's focused specifically on bringing together women across the real estate industry. One of the things that Ronne and the early co-founders were really intentional about was making sure that this was a group of women that were multi-generational.
Ronne just loves mentoring young women. She spends a great deal of her time thinking about projects, so developing women's skills, and really has a passion for it.
When I first got to know Ronne through the Peking Duck House dinners and through the WLI steering committee, she was really kind and approachable. I don't think I even fully began to realize what a legend she was and how much she had done in her career leading up to that point. And the more I got to know her and learn about her story and what she'd done throughout her development career and her career in finance, I was so impressed that here is somebody who has been so approachable and so kind and focused so much on giving back to the next generation. And she's a total baller in the real estate development world and the projects that she's built and the impact that she's had on our city.
She had to shatter a lot of glass to get where she is. And many women in the industry, myself included, are beneficiaries of her having taken on those battles.
She is smart, she is candid, she listens, she's very straightforward, and she's one of the earliest women to make a difference in our industry in my lifetime, and that's over the last 50 years of working in this industry.
I suspect that what Ronnie's going to continue to do is accumulate amazing human beings who she has taught the business to, and particularly women, given that extra that extra push, like, yes, you can do it, and if I can keep doing it for decades and decades, then you can do it as well.
I think she's going to continue to empower women with the last breath that she has left in it, because she loves to do it and she does it so well.
ULI New York has been an incredibly important part of my life. It's been my community, it's been my friends, and to be among friends who are such leaders and such believers in the city of New York is truly an honor. This, however, is not an award that belongs to me alone. There are many women who followed me early on and who are really pioneers and have never stopped leading the way to change the dynamic and change the role and increase the participation of women in this industry. And they share this with me. When I think about where the New York City development community is heading, I think about E.B. White and his profound 1949 book, Here is New York, where he identified a characteristic called mesmerism, unique to New Yorkers, that no matter how far away they go, they always return. ULI New Yorkers are those mesmerizers. We will always come back, and we will never, ever stop working to better New York. We can all be very proud of ULI New York's work in the last 3 years on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. We must continue to expand on these initiatives. We need to deliver on our commitment to build equitable communities. We need to find solutions for affordability. No one said this was going to be easy, but we are those mesmerizing New Yorkers, and we won't give up.
Ronne, thank you for your leadership and friendship. My time on the Claret team will always be a highlight of my career. You have had a tremendous impact on so many young real estate professionals. I cannot think of anyone more deserving of this honor.
Ronne, congratulations for this incredible award and honor. I couldn't be more proud to call you a friend and a mentor. Thank you for everything that you do for this industry and for the Urban Land Institute.
It is so well deserved. You've been a leader in our business for so many decades. I am so happy for you and so proud of ULI New York for awarding you this.
Ronne, congratulations from all your colleagues over this many years.
Ronne, I am so excited for you. Nobody deserves this more than you, and I actually truly mean this. You are the bomb.
Ronne, I am so proud of you, of who you are, what you accomplished, and our deep-seated friendship. I love you.